Today's daf is Maseches Nazir Daf Yud Beis. We are at the bottom of Yud Aleph from the Beis, second to bottom line, the third word from the end of the line. Amar Reb Yitzchak bar Yosef. Amar Reb Yitzchak bar Yosef, Amar Reb Yochanan. Yitzchak bar Yosef said, name Reb Yochanan. Ha'imar l'shluchai tzei v'kadesh li isha stam. If somebody told a shliach, go to a certain place, whatever place, the kadesh li isha stam. So he didn't say any specific isha. He just told him, go and be my shliach and kadesh me a woman. And the shliach died, and he doesn't know which woman's got the shliach was mekadesh. So halacha is aser b'chol anashim shabayim. The person that sent him the mishaleach is aser in every single woman in the world. What's the reason? Why? Because chazaka shliach oisa shechusay. We have a chazaka that a shliach does his shlichus, and therefore we say that he was probably mekadesh his mishaleach to a woman. Became a parashlei, and since he didn't tell him which lady was mekadesh him to, halayada. So mishaleach doesn't know hainu kadeshlei, which lady is mekadesh to him, and therefore misafik, it becomes asr on every woman in the world, because on every lady that in the world there's a chashash, and maybe she is a curve of the lady that he's mekudeshes to, and he's asr on her. So the 7 arayas that a person's asr to when he marries a woman, he's asr 7 arayas. It could be isha, it could be a bita, ima, or mother, or a sister. Aim ishtoi, aim ima, aim avia, bas bana, bas bita. That's what it says in Masech Derech Eretz Perek Aleph Halacha Aleph. So frekt Rish Lakish, Eisvei Rish Lakish lo Rabbi Yochanan. Rish Lakish asked Rabbi Yochanan from a Mishnah in Masechtas Kinim Perek Beis Mishnah Aleph, which over there it discusses the person that is mafresh a carbon, a cane, a peer of Ifis, stuma, and he doesn't specify exactly which one of the oifis is a chatas. He's bringing a chatas and an oila, so he doesn't specify which one's a chatas and which one's oila. Shaparcha goizel echad mehen lavir oilam. One of the birds flew away, and we don't know which one. Oy shaparcha lebein chatois hamesais, or one of the birds flew away to in between chatois, where they're supposed to die, and you can't bring them as a carbon. And you don't know where it's not nick or where it is or whatever. And one of the birds that went away that got separated, they died. And there's only one left over. So the halacha is Yikach Zog Lasheni. You should take, the halacha is, the Mishnah Kingdom says, you should take a ben zog, take another one to pair it up with this bird that's left over. So Rish Lakish was mendaik in the Mishnah that's only because it was a kain stuma. It wasn't. You never said which one should be a oila, which one should be a chatas. But the ilu came for reshes if it was that you designated already one of the oifis for a chatas and one of them for oila, and then one flew away. Ein la takana. There is no way to fix that problem, because you don't know which one is left over, which one's the chatas and which one's the oila. And the dinam of hakrava to makrava, oila and achatas are very different. So Zakti Gemara, the ilu shar kinam ba'alma. In this case, where you have a suffix on this cane, this peer of ifis. So the other kinam, the other peers that you have in the world, that somebody has other people have peers of ifis which are also designated for carbon. That's okay. And if somebody wants to bring peers of birds, he could bring any birds he finds in the world. So fracting Amar of Amai, why could somebody bring any cane, any peer of any bird from anywhere? Leva kol chada v'chada say on every bird that you find in the world, Dilmahainiu, maybe that's the bird that ran away from that pier, which this person had a bird that disappeared. And since it was already designated for Ziva or Taras, for somebody's carbon, you can't bring it for a kapara for somebody else. So why is it different than the case of Rabbi Yochanan, where the halacha of somebody tells a shliach to mekadesh isha, and the halacha is over there that, and the shliach disappears, the halacha is also on kol nashim shabayim because maybe it's a carve of the person that he was mekudeshes to. So here also, say on any geisel you find in the world that you want to bring as a cane, maybe he's already designated for kapara for somebody's saras or whatever, and it should be aser, just like Rabbi Yochanan says legabi kedushin. So Rabbi Yochanan's matchil is kasha. Amalei Rabbi Yochanan tells Shlakish kamina no isha deloy naida. I was choishish for a woman that does not move and she's kavua in her house. Va'amrat li'at isur denied. You bring me a kasha from the case of naid is a isur that moves around. Birds, they fly around, they don't stay in one place. So you can't ask me a kasha. Because there's something that flies away. You could say you go basa roiv geizlis. Roiv birds are not mekudeshes lakarbon. Masha'inkin an isha, which she's steady in one place, you don't go basa the roiv because kavuas kemechza al mechza. We'll say it's a half-half, 50-50. Because kol kavua kemechza al mechza dami, and we'll say that any lady could be from. You'll say half of the ladies that are in the world are considered that they're mekudeshes to him because it's kavua. Zok the Gemara weiter, v'chitema, and maybe you want to say that no, it's not shchilik. Why? Because hachanami night. Also by the case of Isha, maybe she's also considered that she's on the move. Why? Because a woman's not all the time in her house. Maybe she's traveling or she's going places. Aimer, b'shuka ashkach v'kadosh, and maybe the shliach didn't find her in the house in Mekadosh, or maybe he found her in the marketplace and not in her house. In that case, she would not be. You wouldn't say it's a mechsa b'chtudavim. Rather, it's just a miyat, or maybe you'd go basaroy. So still, Zakr B'Yechan, and even in that case, I'll tell you, it's not daima to keinoifos. Why? Because hasam. A lady is going to go back to her base, which is her house. Gabi Kain, mi hadra. If a guy has a pair of oivas and one of them disappears, it flew away, is it going to come back to its base? The bird's just going to fly back. It's a bird. It's going to fly around the whole world. So therefore, over there we go basarayv. Masha'in Kain, Isha. She has a din like kavua, even if she's outside her house, because it's normal for her to rest in her house, and she only goes out l'shah. Masha'inkin ha'oif, it's derech to fly around the world. It's normal for oif to fly to another place. So Dr. B'Yochanan, still it's different. Zok the Gemara weiter. Amar Rava says, Umaydir Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan agrees that if you send the shliach to mekadesh isha and the shliach dies, the isha she'ein la loy bas. The mishaleach is not aser in a lady. So Rabbi Yochanan agrees if she doesn't have any daughter of loy bas and not a daughter's daughter of loy bas bain, v'loy v'loy aim, and there's no mother to a mother. V'loy achos, she doesn't have a sister. So since she does not have any of these relatives, so there's no makom to be choishish that maybe her relatives mekudeshes to him because she doesn't have any of these relatives that even it's not possible for him to be mekudeshes to them. V'af al pi shahoy salah achos. And even at the time the Shaliach sent the Shliach, maybe she had a sister that was married and she only got divorced afterwards. So there's no chashash that maybe the Shliach was Makadosh her sister, because at that time her sister was married to somebody else. So therefore Rabbi Yochanan is masking that he sharia, that woman is going to be mutter to him because she does not have any kroivos that are available. So Mela, it's mutter, she will be mutter to the Mishalech in that case. So frek the Gemara, my taima, why is this lady taka mutter? Let's be choishish that the Shliach was Makadosh the sister after her gerushin. After the Gemara, we're not choishish to that. Why? But he shaita the ka'amar le at that time that the Mishalech sent the Shliach having a seal in Legavri, the sister, Achoisa, her sister, was married to another person, and Mavada who's not would say that the Mishalech was not Makadosh, the Shliach was not Makadosh her even after she got divorced. Because when a person appoints a shliach, he's only appoints a shliach in something that is in front of him right now, that's available now, and that could be done. But something that the shliach can't do now, he does not make him a shliach. So even if, let's say, he was Makadosh, but I didn't make him a shliach for that, so in that case the kedushin wouldn't be a kedushin. So frek the Gemara, Tanan, we learned in a Mishnah, Hareini Nazir, in our Mishnah we just had, Hareini Nazir v'ala legaleach Nazir, our Mishnah Nazir, V'shama Chavero, and his friends here is v'amar v'ani v'alai legaleach Nazir. And he says, I also want to be a Nazir, and I want to bring karbanos for another Nazir that's a carbon. Allah is they're both Nazirim, and in addition to that, they're both mechuyev to bring karbanos for another Nazir. So the Mishnah says, Im ha'yipikchim, and they want to be pater from the avos karbanos, megalchen zeh, each one should bring a carbon for the Nazir of his friend, v'imla megalchen Nazir macher. If they don't do that, then they would have to bring additional karbanos besides further on. So, fracting Gemara, Bishlam Basra. Bishlam is the second one that said Va'ani v'alai the Galeach Nazir. So he can become his neder. They said he brings karbanos for his friend. Dika kadmo kadmei. So the Gemara is bothered. The Bishlam is the second one. He already sees the first guy being a Nazir. So maybe when he says v'alai the Galeach Nazir, he has in mind the first one. Allah kadmo, but the first one that makes himself a Nazir, the first one that says Harein Nazir v'alai. Mika Basra Kamei, is there another Nazir in front of him that when he says V'alai Legaleach Nazir, you could say he's referring to that person? When he makes his first nether, the second the guy is not a Nazir yet. So according to Rava, that the guy is not koil on his Amira, things that are not available at the time. So Ibazari will say for sure that the first guy's intention was not to mechayev karbanos for another Nazir, because there was no other Nazir around then. The second one, you could say, okay, he sees the first guy just became a Nazir, and he said, V'alai Legaleach, he says, V'ani, whatever, fine. But the first guy doesn't see another Nazir, so why should he mechuyev to bring karbanos for another Nazir? That's Gemara's kasha. Pi Rava l'chayr, he shouldn't. Okay, no, so the kasha, it seems like the kasha is because the Mishnah said, Im ha'yipikhin, they would avoid bringing karbanos for other Nazirim besides their own, because they would say it will be on each other. And that's how they would be Mekayim, the V'alai Galeach Nazir. So the Gemara's kasha is, how's Shaykh for the first one, because you can't say he had in mind the second Nazir. It never happened yet. So Ella Zakti Gemara. So that's a kasha on Rava. So Ella Hachikama Zakti Gemara. We'll have to say Behechrich, that the kavanah of the first Noider, when he's making his first Naziris, the first one's making Naziris, his kavanah is, if I find that the guy's a Nazir, I'll bring his karbanas. So Ibazoi, Hachanami, here also you could say, Hachkamarle, Imashkachas the Migasho, if I find that she gets divorced and she wants Mikudesh to Mikadeshli, you'll say the same thing. And even though B'shas the Minishlichas, she's still Eishes Ish now. So Ibazoi, maybe it could work. So what's Pshat Rava says, like I did, that the Shliach, even though this Isha had a sister that was married at the time, but she got divorced later on, it's not a problem. L'chayra, maybe say that he's Mekadosh her on the tzad, that maybe she'll get divorced. From our Mishnah, you could turn it around and ask Fakir on Rava. And for the Gemara, Amri, no, you could come explain Rava's din different. That Rava's coming to say klal in dine shlichus. That le meshavi in a shliach elo most in the matzah abad hashta. A person only makes a shliach of something they can do right now. That the Mishaleach can have, the Shliach had it done now. But most of the Leimatzi Avad Lehasha, something that Shliach cannot get done right now, Loi Mishavi, then we say that the Mishaleach did not have a mind to make a Mishaleach for that, and therefore, because you can't be Mekadosh a woman as long as she's a Eisha Sesh, and this lady, even though maybe she had a sister that was married, but she was a Eisha Sesh, so therefore, he did not appoint a Mishaleach for that, even if she's divorced afterwards. The Pshat is, he didn't have a mind to have such a shlichus, so that's why it's not possible to work. And that's why he would be mutter to be married to this lady. Zok the Gemara of Eloi, is it true that the person can't be mana shliach on something that the shliach can't do right now? Tashma, I'll bring you a steer from another bride. It says, somebody tells his apotropos, his custodian, somebody's mamuna on his assets in his house. He tells him, Kol nadarm shetadar ishti, all nadarm that my wife makes, mikan ad she'avoi mimakam pliny, from the time that I go now out to my travels until I return from this place. Hafer law, be mefer in my place. I'm not going to be around, so do it for me. Be mefer all nadarm. Vehefer law, and he was talking mefer for her. So yachol, I might think you mufarin, that all in his darm are considered the mufar, because as he told him to do it, it's as if the husband did it himself. Tamad loymar, pasuk steht b'minbar parak lamed pasuk yudalid, kol neder v'chol shavuos isar la'anes nafesh, isha yikemenu v'isha yiferenu. So the pasuk says twice, isha. It says isha yikemenu v'isha yiferenu. It says a double time. Isha, it says it a second time, to tell you that dafka, her husband, can be mefer, but not the shliach. Divrei Rabbi Yoshia, that is what Rabbi Yoshia holds. Rabbi Yonasan says that apotropos could be mefer. Why? Because matzinu b'chol makom sheshulcha shel adam kamaisai. Because you find a halacha in the Torah of shulcha shel adam kamaisai, and keilu the Baal himself is mefer. So it's considered that the husband is doing it, because it's a shliach, shluch sham l'kamoisai. So the Gemara is going to be medayik and Rabbi Yoshia's words. A taima, the reason why the apotropos can't be made for, why the amarachmana isha k'mena v'isha v'renu, halav hachi, but without this drasha, then apotropos made for. Then even Rabbi Yoshia were asking apotropos can be made for in the darim that the wife made until the husband returns. The ilu gabi day. Tanya, and Lagabe, the Baal himself, he wants to be made further in Dharam before he goes. Tanya, we learned in the Brisa, in the Mishnah, in the Dharam, Ayin Hey Amid Aleph, Ha'imir l'ishta, Yikon Adam Shturim, Yikan Mad Shavi Makam Plani, Yukayam and Loim Klum. If a guy tells his wife, before he goes out to his travels, all the Dharam you're going to make from here until I return, Loim Klum, it's not considered Amira B'chlal, because you can't be Mekayim her Dharam before they actually happen. So Lagabe Hakama, it doesn't work. But Lagabe being Mefer, Harei Mufar, is Mufar. Beleza says, Mufar. Any neder she makes is Mufar. I'm sorry. So again, clear. So the Mishnah Ayin Hey and Dharma is saying that if a guy wants to be making all Dharma that his wife makes, Mikan Shavim Makam Pliny, so he can't make Hakama, because they didn't have the other nether. What happens if he wants to say la'asad, he wants to be made for all the dharma she's going to make? So it's machlekes. But leza oimer mufer, any nether is takam mufer. But chacham say that he can't be made for a nether before she makes it. So zok the Gemara. Now the Gemara is going to explain the kasha. So kasal kadaitach ki amar Rabbi Yoshia. When does Yoshia say that shliach cannot be made for his wife? Ali b'darabanan. That's only Ali b'shitz chacham mishnah darim ayin hey that says chacham me'mein mufar. The amr the matzi mefer. A baal can't be mefer in the darim for the future. That will happen in the future. So Shas Mina Shliach, L'chayra, the Baal can either be Mefer. Dr. Gemara, Rabbi Yoshe's halacha that he's saying that a shliach cannot be made for Isha. That's a leave the Rabbanan say he can't be made for. Lav dar Rachman Isha cannot be made for Rena, but Shabbos say made for. If the Torah would not say Isha cannot be made for Rena, what would be the halacha? Shabbos would be able to be made for Durham that the wife is going to make. So what comes out from that? That be'etzem without the pasuk of Isha cannot be made for Rena, Rabbi Yoshua would hold that a Baal could be Mana Shliach for something that he can't even do now. So l'chayra it's a stira to what Rava said, l'gam mina shlichus v'kedushin. The same type of scenario. So the Gemara and for the Gemara no, but Dilma aliba d'Rabbi maybe. Rabbi Yoshua was not saying his halacha ali b'der Rabbanan. It says in the Mishnah and the Dar, you can't be made for. Rather, he was saying his halacha ali b'der Rabbi. It says that it's mufar. So frekti Gemara, ihachi. If that's the case, if you go only b'der Rabbi, why does he have to be man a shliach to be made for his wife and Dar? He could do it himself before he goes out to travel. He could say, "Oh, the Dar, my wife is going to make." He could be made for them right now because if Leza holds, the husband could be made for the Dharm for the Asit. And for the Gemara, Kasavar, the Baal thinks in his mind, it's better for me to man a Shliach, and I should not wait. Why? Because Dilim Mishtalina, maybe I'll forget to be made for them at the time. Or maybe I'll get upset and I won't be made for Oy Mitrudina, maybe I'll just get busy. And I won't have the Yishuv Das made from Wax and Dharam. So therefore he says, you know what, I'm going to man a shliach right now. And a day or two before I go out, he's going to get it done. Whatever I'm going busy with, I know the shliach is going to get it done. And the mail the shliach is made for an Dharam as long as they will have it. Even for the future. So that's Taka Lamais the Gemara's Teretz that the Gemara is going with. That Rabbi Yoshua is saying it at Lida Berlezer in the Mishnah and Dharm Naf Hayin Hey and not the Rabbanan. Zok Tehelig Mishnah Baita. Harei Olai Legalei Achatzi Nazir. If a person says that I'm going to bring half of the karbonis that a Nazir has to bring. The Shama Chavera and his friend hears that, but Amar Va'ani Olai Legalei Achatzi Nazir. So he says, I'm also going to bring that. So halacha is, the first one brings all his karbanis. The second one also has to bring all the karbanis. That's where Meir holds. The say, the first one brings half of the karbanis. And the second one brings also half of the karbanis. Amar Rava says, Hakal Moedim Remeir Chachamim both maskim. Kol Heicha da Amar Chatzi Karbonis Nazir Alai Chatzi Karamaisi. That if the Noider says, the guy that's making the Nadir Naziris, if he says Chatzi Karbonis Nazir Alai, then the halacha is he brings half a Karbonis of Nazir, because that's what his master is lashon. And if he says Karbonis Chatzi Nazir Alai, and he says the word Chatzi next to Nazir, which means mashma that he's bringing karbanos of someone that's a Chatzi Nazir, and then Kul karbanos, so he has to bring all the karbanos of the Nazir. My time, the Ashcha Naziris Apaga, because we don't find a half a Naziris. And since he's Mechai himself to bring karbanos of Naziris, so he's Chayim all of them. The Chi Pligi, so when's the Machlek is Remeir and Chachamim in the Mishnah? So the Gemara, Belishna and Maslis and Pligi, they're arguing in the lashon of the Mishnah, when the Noider says clearly Harei Legaleach Chatzi Nazir. So Rameir holds came in the Amar Harei Olai Ichayev Akuli Karban Naziris. Since he says Harei Olai Legaleach, so he's chayev on himself all Karban Naziris. V'chika Amar, when he goes on afterwards and it says Chatzi Naziris, when he says Chatzi Nazir afterwards, so that's Lav Kol Kamine. It's not possible to happen. Why? Because it's Tfais Lashon Rishon. You go by the first part of the Lashon. The first part of the Lashon was what? He said Arei Legaleach. So it's Chal on him a full-fledged Nazir to bring all karbanis. Rabbanan Tzarech Chachamim hold that when Makabel all the words he said. So Kumtois, first he makes a neder, which sounds like a regular Naziris. It says Harei Alai Legaleach, Pesach Imayu, and the Pesach is with it because afterwards he says that his kavanah is only Legaleach Chatzi Nazir. So therefore, the Chachamim hold that he only brings half of the karbanos. Just to point out in the Mishnah, it seems like the shaila is Harei Alai Legaleach Chatzi Nazir. It's not talking about for himself. It's just a guy saying that he wants to bring the karbanos of another nazir. Apparently, it's Pashup Shah. That's what it seems like. Okay.